we're all ready.
Yeah, right here.
All right.
Good for you? Right.
Come ahead!
Quiet on the set!
This is Michael Falkner, and it's showtime at the Weekly Podioplex, brought to you by the Chronic Rift. Kicking off the box office results for Monday, July 11th. At number 10 is Mr. Popper's Penguins, down 2 from last week. Coming in at number 9 is last week's 7th, Green Lantern. Down from 6th at number 8 is Monte Carlo. In 7th place is Super 8. In 6th place are Tom Hanks, Julie Roberts, and Larry Crowne. At number 5 is Cameron Diaz and Bad Teacher with another $9 million for a grand total of $79 million. Skidding into 4th place is last week's runner-up, Cars 2, adding $15 million to bring the Pixar sequel to $149 million. At number 3 is a new release, Zookeeper, pulling in $21 million in opening weekend sales on an $80 million budget. At second is the other new release, Horrible Bosses, with $28 million toward a $35 million budget. But holding the number 1 spot for 2 consecutive weeks are the robots of Transformers Dark of the Moon, adding another $47 million to the $261 million total gross. The third installment of the franchise dropped 52% over last week, but still held more interest for moviegoers than the second film, Revenge of the Fallen. Dark of the Moon has now passed The Hangover Part 2 as 2011's top-grossing movie. On the R-rated comedy front, Horrible Bosses took its place between Bad Teacher and Bridesmaids in this summer's adult-oriented fare, becoming the top-grossing opening weekend in history for a dark comedy. That record was previously held by the remake of The Stepford Wives. Zookeeper, on the other hand, is right in the running for Kevin James movies, and the formulaic talking animal subgenre. This week's new release headliners are for the kids, whether they be the ones still in school or the kids at heart. Starting with the final outing for The Boy Who Lived. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 stars Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint.
Harry, be safe. Be strong.
Harry Potter. You have fought valiantly. Now join me and confront your fate.
You've kept him alive so that he can die at the proper moment.
Bring him to me.
Let's find out where he is. If we find him, we can end this.
I say we jump now!
Hogwarts is threatened. Man the boundaries, protect us.
I have to go back, haven't I?
It's a suicide mission. The boy who lived, come to die.
Tell them how it happened that night. How you looked him in the eye. A man who trusted you and killed him.
I never wanted any of you to die for me. You'll stay with me.
Always.
Until the end. Come on, Tom. Let's finish this the way we started it.
Together.
Only I can live forever.
The final chapter begins as Harry, Ron, and Hermione continue their quest of finding and destroying the Dark Lord's 3 remaining Horcruxes, the magical items responsible for his immortality. But as the mystical Deathly Hallows are uncovered and Voldemort finds out about their mission, the biggest battle begins and life as they know it will never be the same. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is rated PG-13. The second new release this week is Winnie the Pooh, starring Jim Cummings, Greg Ferguson, and John Cleese.
I can see you're going to be rather feisty today.
I am known for my inspiring rhetoric.
Bliggity blue! Woo-hoo-hoo! A simple hello would do. Thank you very much.
There they are.
Christopher Robin!
I walked across an empty land. I knew the pathway like the back of my hand.
We will have a contest to find a new tale for Eeyore.
Is this the place we used to love? Is this the place that I've been dreaming of? A simple thing.
Yes, well, the thing to do is issue a reward
Gesundheit.
to the... I beg your pardon?
You sneezed.
No, I didn't. The word is issue, not at you.
You must be catching a cold.
I'll probably catch it too.
Oh, bother. Perhaps I could borrow some honey. Oh, just a taste. Oh, a small lick, I should think.
Silly old bear.
During an ordinary day in the 100-acre wood, Winnie the Pooh sets out to find some honey. Misinterpreting a note from Christopher Robin, Pooh convinces Tigger, Rabbit, Piglet, Owl, Kangaroo, and Eeyore that their young friend has been captured by a creature named Baxon, and they set out to save him. This will be only the fourth time that Walt Disney Animation Studios has produced a sequel on one of their films from the Disney Animated Classics canon in-house. The previous attempts have been The Three Caballeros, which followed Saludos Amigos, Fantasia 2000, which followed Fantasia, and The Rescuers Down Under, which followed The Rescuers. Winnie the Pooh is rated G. In limited release, we have Life, Above All, a French drama starring Kumotso Monyaka, Kiyobaka Makanyane, and Lerato Velase. This film is a touching mother-daughter relationship that reflects the modern South Africa. Life Above All is rated PG-13. Next up is Salvation Boulevard, a comedic thriller starring Greg Kinnear, Pierce Brosnan, and Marissa Tomei. This film is set in the world of megachurches, in which a former deadhead turned born-again Christian finds himself on the run from fundamentalist members of his megachurch who will do anything to protect their larger-than-life pastor. Salvation Boulevard is not rated. Snowflower and the Secret Fan is a historical drama starring Bingbing Li, Gianna Jun, and Vivian Wu. This is a story set in 19th century China and focuses on the lifelong friendship between two girls who develop their own secret code as a way to contend with the rigid cultural norms imposed on women. Snowflower and the Secret Fan is rated PG-13. Last up, we have Tabloid, a documentary by Errol Morris, which focuses on the former Miss Wyoming Joyce McKinney, who is charged with abducting, imprisoning, and raping a young Mormon missionary. Tabloid is not rated. This week's DVD and Blu-ray slate starts with Arthur, starring Russell Brand, Helen Mirren, and Jennifer Garner. This is the remake of the 1981 Dudley Moore movie about a drunken playboy who stands to lose a wealthy inheritance when he falls for a woman his family doesn't like. Arthur is rated PG-13. Next up is Insidious, starring Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, and Ty Simpkins. This horror film focuses on a family that wants to prevent evil spirits from trapping their comatose child in a realm called The Further. Insidious is rated PG-13. Next we have The Lincoln Lawyer, starring Matthew McConaughey, Marissa Tomei, and Ryan Phillippe. This is a crime drama about a lawyer who conducts business from the back of his Lincoln Town car while representing a high-profile client in Beverly Hills. The Lincoln Lawyer is rated R. Rango, starring Johnny Depp, Isla Fisher, and Timothy Oliphant, is an animated action-adventure about an ordinary chameleon who accidentally winds up in the town of Dirt, a lawless outpost in the Wild West in desperate need of a new sheriff. Rango is rated PG. In the TV on DVD front, we have Damages Season 3, starring Rose Byrne, Glenn Close, and Tate Donovan.
Patricia Hughes is scheduled to formally begin her inquiry into the largest Ponzi scheme in Wall Street history.
Nominated for 5 2010 Emmy Awards, Damages, the complete third season, coming to DVD.
I will find the money.
The feds have turned to Patty Hughes.
$70 billion went through your husband's fund. You didn't tuck some of that away for the family?
You know what it's like to have a husband who betrays you.
To bring down a powerful family.
No other member of his family was aware of his fraud.
one case that will touch everyone.
We've lost everything.
Patty can't stand weakness in people.
Turn the Tobins against each other.
I told you what would happen if you kept lying to me.
I think I know who the Tobins used to move money into the Caribbean.
This case is going to make my career. I have no reason to share it with Patty.
Starring Glenn Close in her two-time Emmy Award-winning role, Rose Byrne, Tay Donovan, Campbell Scott, Martin Short, Ted Danson, guest starring Lily Tomlin, and Keith Carradine. The best ensemble of any show anywhere.
You used me. You're a parasite. And I'll punish you like one.
All 13 episodes on 3 discs.
Shut up and let me fix it!
Including exclusive bonus features.
I like where this case is headed.
One of the best shows on TV.
We found a body.
And maybe the most addictive.
Was it a homicide?
Damages, the complete 3rd season, coming to DVD.
Bright and sharp law school graduate Ellen Parsons becomes a protege of the successful and hard-hitting high-stakes litigator Patricia Hughes. But nothing is what it seems. Next up is Entourage Season 7, starring Kevin Connolly, Adrian Grenier, and Kevin Dillon. Film star Vince Chase navigates the vapid terrain of Los Angeles with a close circle of friends and his trusty agent. This season, after an accident during filming of his latest action flick, Vince develops a new lease on life that makes him even more difficult to manage. Each of the guys must decide which steps to take to map out their own futures, both personally and professionally. ER Season 15, the final season, stars Goran Vishnaisik, Marin Tierney, and Mekhi Phifer. This medical drama explores the inner workings of an urban teaching hospital and the critical issues faced by the dedicated physicians and staff of its overburdened emergency room. Robot Chicken, Star Wars Episode 3, stars Seth Green, Candace Bailey, Abraham Ben-Ruby, and Bob Bergen, and is the 3rd installment of the stop-motion animated Star Wars spoof with a demented twist. Also coming from TV to DVD is Poirot, Movie Collection Set 6, starring David Suchet. Agatha Christie's endearing fastidious sleuth returns in 3 baffling new cases based on her classic novels, as seen on the PBS Masterpiece Mystery Series. This set includes the films 3-Act Tragedy, The Clocks, and Halloween Party. In animated classics, we have Thundercats, Seasons 1 and 2, broken into 2 parts each season, starring Bob McFadden, Earl Hammond, Larry Kenny, and Lynn Lipton. This is a mid-80s animated series about a team of humanoid cats who fight evil in their adopted home world. And last but not least, we have 4 entries from the BBC, starting with Last of the Summer Wine, vintage 1990, starring Michael Aldridge and Bill Owen. The world's longest-running sitcom returns for more antics from everyone's favorite geriatrics. 3 old men from Yorkshire who have never grown up face the trials of their fellow town citizens, everyday life, and staying young, by reminiscing about the days of their youth and attempting feats not common to the elderly. Next is MI5, Volume 9, starring Peter Firth, Richard Armitage, and Nicola Walker. The penultimate series of the hugely successful long-running drama about the missions of MI5, the UK's domestic intelligence organization. Next is Doctor Who, The Gunfighters, starring William Hartnell and Jackie Lane. The first Doctor travels to Tombstone, Arizona in 1881. The air is filled with the sounds of shooting, cussing, and toe-tapping tunes knocked out on the battered piano at the Last Chance Saloon. But the Doctor and his companions aren't the only newcomers in town. The Clanton brothers have ridden in to settle a grudge with Doc Holliday, the notorious gambler, drinker, and dentist. In the Wild West, tempers are short, guns are swift, and a moment's hesitation on the draw can mean death. Finally, we have Doctor Who, The Awakening, starring Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, and Mark Strickson. The 5th Doctor, Tegan, and Turlough arrive in a small English village, looking forward to spending some time with Tegan's grandfather. They soon discover that all is not well. Tegan's grandfather is missing, and the locals are reenacting dangerous war games from 1643. With the past mixed up with the present, can the Doctor stop the games before an evil entity hidden in the village church awakens? Let's take this one to go. It's time for the Quick Flicks. If you've been wanting another Pirates of the Caribbean adventure, you may be close to seeing it. After making $350 million in the first 4 films, Johnny Depp is reportedly close to signing a deal to play Captain Jack Sparrow once again. Despite his initial statements that he was done with the character, Depp's paycheck, a completed script, and the obvious post-credits scene from the last film make it clear that another sequel is inevitable. Depp is shooting the Dark Shadows film with Tim Burton, and then will be involved in Disney's Christmas 2012 release of The Lone Ranger. So as soon as we see the good Captain on the silver screen, would be 2013. After Transformers Dark of the Moon's big opening, Paramount is the first studio to reach $1 billion in domestic revenue for 2011, which makes this the 5th year in a row for the studio. Based on sales starting on January 1st, the big contributors to the achievement were Thor, Kung Fu Panda 2, Rango, Justin Bieber's Never Say Never, No Strings Attached, and 2010's True Grit and The Fighter. In other Transformers news, despite the lead actor and the 3-time director leaving the franchise, producer Don Murphy thinks that the Transformers franchise still has some steam. Answering the question of what happens next, Murphy stated that there would be no reboot for the robots, and that he was pretty sure there would be a second trilogy of films. Of course, that leaves the question of who will fill the shoes of the human counterpart for Optimus and the gang. Rumors of Jason Statham's involvement have recently been quashed. In James Bond 23 news, Miss Moneypenny is back. Naomi Harris has been tapped to play M's assistant, a character who hasn't been seen since Die Another Day, the 20th film in the series. Javier Bardem and Ralph Fiennes have also been tapped for roles, the former supposedly for a villain role. Finally, composer David Arnold still wants Amy Winehouse to sing the theme to the movie. Winehouse was courted for Quantum of Solace, but declined due to personal reasons. Unfortunately for David, if Winehouse's current tour is any indication, those problems still exist. James Bond 23 is set for a November 9th, 2012 US release, and an October 26th, 2012 release in the United Kingdom. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, please take a moment to get in touch. You can surf on over to chronicriff.com and leave a note in the forums. You can leave a voicemail at 888-866-9010, or you can write to John at chronicriff.com. You can also find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook. The Weekly Podioplex is a collaboration of Creative Criticality and Lucky Shot Productions. This is Michael Falkner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you at the theater.
Howdy. Hello!
Doc, yes, what is it?
We're in the wrong century.
That's all we needed.
There's been a confusion in time. Somehow 1984 has become linked with...
The Wild West!
What'll it be, stranger?
Well, if it ain't a great doc.
Oh, you flatter me, young man. And who might you be, sir?
You want to find out, try moving fast.
Doc, I would like you to meet the Clanton brothers.
The Clanton brothers? Oh, dear. I mean, Stephen, don't you think it's time we were going?
With the Clantons in town, you and me's headed for a load of trouble.
We shot down one of the Earp brothers. Now you really have declared war.
I'd blast you down as soon as spit at you.
We're leaving now.
You're under arrest, Pop. Under arrest, and don't you call me Pop.
Holiday's my prisoner. Well, that's too bad, because if he ain't out of there in 2 minutes, his friend's gonna swing in his place.
There's something very strange going on.
Something that will change the future of mankind.
You are energizing a force so destructive, nothing on Earth can control it. Malice is pure evil.
It has to be destroyed. It is time at last.
Everybody stay perfectly calm and still.
I am here, master.
Psychic disturbance!